in some cases. Generally, it's Mega Man. There's not a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, well, and you also have people that are a lot more practiced in one game than the others and things like that, so they might have really good core mechanics, but not be so used to all of the boss fights and things like that. So, yeah, it makes it really interesting. A lot of opportunities to catch up also.
Yeah.
And we're going to be getting started here real soon.
Yep.
There we go, yeah.
So... Then going in, their PBs are pretty close to one another. Laseki comes in with a PB of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 51 seconds. Entu is just under 2 minutes behind at 1 hour, 8 minutes, 35 seconds.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting. Laseki does have the better PB, but that's close enough that any mistakes on Laseki's side could mean Entu's able to catch up. And, you know... We've seen several PBs already in this tournament as well, so there's a good chance that Entu could put up the best run we've seen.
Yeah, this is a fairly sort of young category, if you will, so there is a lot that is still being sort of optimized as far as tactics, because you're basically playing 3 games in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess, speaking of the differences in the games, we see right away, one unique thing with X1 is you don't have the dash boots at the beginning. So we get to go through this intro a lot slower than we'd like to, and a lot of mashing, but they both did really well getting those Bs down. Either one has a whole lot of health, so I doubt we're going to see task cars. But now they got to be careful. You see Entu trying to avoid the health. That's another part of the game, is making sure you don't actually pick up health.
Yeah, there were both of them, Laseki and Entu, had to sort of do a little juking just to get around them, and at the same time you're also trying not to endanger yourself in the process. So it can be a delicate juggling act.
Yeah, for those that aren't as familiar with X1, in this intro we see Vile coming down for Laseki and just a hair behind his Entu. You have to lose this fight, and so the quickest way to do that is make sure that you have less than 4 health. And so we say Laseki's at 3 and Entu's at 2. Both of them will get captured right away, and that's going to be the quickest way to get this over with. If you have too much health, then you got to sit there and fight him for a while.
They're both playing on different language versions for X1. Entu's playing Japanese, Laseki's playing English.
Yeah, I saw in Laseki's PB he used the US X1 cart. I'm assuming he's using physical cart, since that's probably just what he owns. But the US version is a little bit slower. In this category, it won't be a huge difference, especially for X1. But there's probably 5 or 6 seconds in there that you'll be losing to text, mostly just from that cutscene and the dash boots.
Right. X1 and X2 are kind of negligible, I guess, in that regard. X3, it's not.
Yeah, for all of them, the Japanese versions is quicker. I don't know the exact times, especially for this category, since we're not going through all the Sigma stages. But I think both of these players will be using the Japanese version. I believe Laseki has physical carts, and I think Entu is playing on a SD to SNES.
Okay. And Entu's the first to Dr. Light's capsule, and Laseki's about a second behind.
Yeah, really tight so far.
So the dash booths are going to make this so much faster for the runners from this point on. You know, this is the main reason why Chill Penguin is always first up in Mega Man X. That, and he's a really easy boss, but it's the dash boots.
Yeah, exactly. There's no route in which you don't need to get the dash boots first, because that's how you go fast. And yeah, Penguin's not too difficult of a boss, but he does have a good bit of RNG, and especially when you don't have his weakness, you gotta rely on some good luck to get through him quickly.
Right. Though in general, his attacks don't do a significant amount of damage. It's mostly just trying to get around his trolly behavior.
Yeah, and like we just saw from Entu there, in order to do it fast, you got to do some kind of dangerous maneuvering, fit into some tight spaces. And so the slides are what you don't want to see. You're losing time anytime Penguin's sliding, and both of them are getting pretty good RNG here.
So N2 drops Chill Penguin first.
And Laseki's not going to be far behind.
Yeah.
At 5:05, like about 7, maybe 8 seconds.
Thereabouts, yeah. So I imagine both of them are going to do Kuwanger second. Yep. N2's going Kuwanger second.
Yeah, that would be definitely my expectation. You pretty much want to follow the any percent route. We don't need to get any pickups in particular. They might get 1 or 2 hearts or maybe a sub-tank. But yeah, we want to get to Boomer Quanger. That's another boss that is a pretty easy buster fight. It's actually a pretty tough fight casually, but once you get it down, it's not too bad buster only. And then you can start going in pretty much weakness order.
Right. And we get to, and this is my favorite track in the game.
Yeah, that's a very good one. And it's the only part that has an auto-scroller, so you do get to sit there on the elevator and listen to it for a while.
Yeah. And the whole OST is outstanding, but this one's my favorite.
Yeah, I think most people would agree with you. I certainly do. And I see a question from chat. No dash lemons. I think we did see both of them using dash lemons to some effect there on Penguin. However, Penguin is one of the bosses that the green charge shots do 2 damage, which is the same as a dash lemon. So it's not a big deal if you do either dash lemons or green shots on him. Some bosses in X1 take different damage from the different charges. So sometimes dash lemons are much superior. Sometimes green shots are fine.
Yeah. Now, someone had asked this during my commentary on Thursday, and I assumed this was the correct answer, but they can play these games in any old order they choose, I imagine. They could play, in theory, they could play X3 first if they wanted, yes?
You know, I don't know if I've seen anything specific in the rules.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's generally thought that you should play them in order, because it's the same thing. A lot of this came over from the 46 Robo.
Right.
And I think that's, generally the way it's done, but I guess I don't know for sure.
It's like, it would, it certainly doesn't hurt. It certainly helps, I think, particularly from a gameplay standpoint, but it's like, maybe there's somebody who really wants to be different.
Yeah, I don't know. And we saw both of them handling Quanger exactly how you'd like to. They started off the fight, getting in close. Quanger tries to do that grab move and throw you up, and you can jump out of it before he gets his head down. And so by kind of manipulating him like that, you can get some shots in until he starts teleporting. And then it's just a matter of taking the center of the room and hitting him as quickly as you can. So Entu had another good stage. It looked like the lead is about the same, though. Not anything real significant.
Yeah. Mannix, the tournament organizer, pointing out in chat, it's an unwritten rule that all multi-games need to be played in order. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's like, I imagine there's like 1 or 2 iconoclasts in there where it's like, yeah, I'm going to do things my way.
So Entu made it through the cave there pretty well. Laseki, yeah, he was doing pretty good. Gets rocked. The way those rocks fall is RNG, so you just, oh man, that was an unlucky one right by that pit. You just want to kind of go as fast as you can and hope they don't block you, but there's not a whole lot you can do there. And Entu moving through the swamp really well as well. That swamp section is kind of tough to make sure you keep your movement chained and don't slow down. Laseki's doing a great job also.
Entu about 10-15 seconds ahead, maybe a little bit less. His movement's been on point the whole way through, and really looks like he's been putting in the time here. Yeah,
I know Entu has told me that X3 his kind of regular game. So a lot of the work on X1 and X2 has been put in for this tournament. So he's playing really well, especially with that in mind.
Yeah. And yeah, I looked at his times, and yeah, he's got some pretty good times for the 100% for X and X3. He doesn't have a recorded X2 time. So.
And like I said, we're going to be going pretty much weakness order. So we use Boomerang on Chameleon. Now we're going to go to Eagle, whose weakness is the Chameleon Sting. And Eagle is kind of an interesting stage because we're going to have some platforms that can really screw you up if they want to. And there's also the opportunity to get a sub-tank here if they want. And I'm not sure what these players have done in the past, but it'll be interesting to see if they get that safety. Entu skips it. So it's definitely faster to not get it, but it's not a huge time loss to have that safety. So we've seen a lot of people in this tournament go for it. And yep, we see Laseki going for it.
Entu just flying through these platforms with ease. He's already on his way to the boss. Laseki is quite a bit of ways behind by comparison.
Yeah, he's gonna lose a little more time because of that sub tank. We'll see if Entu can keep his health real high, then it'll be worth it. But we'll have to see if that pays off or not.
Yeah, Eagle is again lots of RNG here. Good pattern, and hope doesn't troll him too much. And it looks like he's holding his ground. It looks like he's sticking around on the side.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Well. Yeah, a really good fight from Entu. Like I said, luckily we've got the C-Sting, so even when he goes and does his hover, you can hit him. Oh, and looks like he's getting dives. So yeah, you just don't want to see the dives, because when he's off screen, you're not hitting him.
So, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I mean, if he had stopped and then decided to do a slow descent, that sinks more time into this, but...
Yeah, I think that was 4 or 5 dives, but yeah, nothing terrible. But it is going to just add that little bit more time that Entu keeps gaining, just a couple seconds here and there. With players that are this tightly matched, that's what he's going to have to do. Just gain it everywhere he can. Both of them are electing to do Flame Mammoth 5th. Flame Mammoth you can kind of do anytime if you want to just follow direct weakness order. Flame Mammoth is right after Storm Eagle, but you don't need Flame Mammoth's weapon because it is used on Chill Penguin, which we already fought, and there's nothing in the stage you really need to do. So really anywhere from 5th to 8th is an option.
Yeah, I think on Thursday, another runner did Mandrill 5th and did Mammoth 8th. So,
Yeah, there was pretty recently some new tech discovered by Walrus Prime, actually, that for the octopus fight you can escape his little whirlpool life drain attack by using Flame Mammoth's weapon. So a lot of folks have been switching to having Mammoth at least not last, but still it doesn't really matter except for maybe escaping that attack.
Right. Good Mammoth fight by Entu. Got tripped up a little by by Mammoth's jump attack, but otherwise clean fight. And again, these are all pretty short levels overall, so nice fight by Laseki.
Yeah, really good from him as well. Yeah, I'm sure everybody noticed it there, but you really want to place your tornadoes close to him and make sure that you get double hits. As his iframes expire, you can get another hit from the same tornado, and they both did a good job there. Assuming you start with a dash limit or a charge shot, then it should just be 5 shots of the tornado. That's what both of them had.
Yeah.
And so yeah, both going to Mandrill now. Mandrill stage is really technical. There's a lot of different ways you can get through here, but these hallways with lights going on and off, a lot of things causing lag. There's just kind of a lot to control, as well as trying to move as fast as possible. So it's kind of a tough stage.
Yeah. And Another reason to play Mandrill later than they do is if you beat Storm Eagle stage and then you come here, you don't have the mini boss, for example, is much easier, and the floor at the beginning doesn't shoot electric shocks at you. So it makes life so much easier if you do Mandrill after Eagle. There are a few stages. There are a few stages like that. Mammoth's got a similar thing where if you do Penguin ahead of Mammoth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stage transformations are really cool. That's a really cool feature in this game.
Yeah, I don't think they really picked it up for for subsequent X games. If they did, it was relatively minor compared to these, which actually seem to have a lasting impact.
There's a few changes that are possible in X3, but it's not nearly as significant.
Right. So, and Entu already at Mandrill. Laseki's a screen behind him.
Yeah, they're both doing really well. That mini boss here, Thunder Slimer, can really troll you sometimes, but they both got pretty decent luck on Thunder Slimer, and now just going into the Mandrill fight. If you played this casually, it's similar, but you can actually get a little bit faster hits. You see him hitting him with the ice right as he's coming out of breaking out of the first ice, so you can get some faster hits that way. Entu had a really good fight, however, he ended up at the very edge of the screen, and so that's something about X1. You have to teleport out of the middle, so he had to do that slow walk to the middle. Not the end of the world, but it is losing frames.
Yeah, it's like Mega Man 3, which does the same thing, where you want to be as close to the center as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, that was dropped for X2 and X3, so this is only one where they'll have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And should be both going to Armored Armadillo now. Armadillo is a pretty fun stage.
Yeah, it's like I said on Thursday, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah, you just get to ride those minecarts around. The biggest concern speed-wise with Armadillo is just making sure you don't bonk anywhere, like in this hallway where Entu's at, and then controlling the lag as much as possible. Because of the carts and all of the enemies, there's a lot of bats and everything. They cause a lot of lag, so there's some really specific places, especially with the birds at the end of the stage, where you've got to either despawn or kill certain enemies to keep the lag down. Yeah, Entu doing well. Should also point out there's a heart right there that Entu just went past. That one is a pretty quick one to get. They chose not to do it. And same thing in Mandrill. There's a pretty quick heart that they could have gotten. I don't think either one did. We did see Laseki get the sub-tank though, so... Oh, and Laseki just gets the heart. Okay. So Laseki has a little bit more safety.
Yeah, X as a general rule is not an especially difficult game, but a little safety here and there never hurt anybody.
Yeah, we've already made it through some of the worst ones. Quanger is definitely possible to kill you. Octo would be the only one remaining. There's only two remaining, I guess. But the only one that you should really be too concerned about. But it'll be nice to have that safety for Laseki.
Nice carom shot, but nice wall shot by Entu to finish off Armadillo. Getting him from behind with a wall shot. That's nice. Oh, and there Laseki does the same.
Yeah, so that was pretty close to getting the final kill right after Entu teleported out, so it should be about 16, maybe 17 seconds difference. So still really tight going into the last stage here.
Both of them looking to be about mid-20, low 21 going into X2, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure.
It's what we hope. It's what we hope for.
Yeah, exactly. Octo stage is kind of a strange one. First of all, you've got the water physics, but then it's basically a mini boss rush. You've got these two submarines, and then we'll also have the Ouroboros to take out. Entu does a good job getting through those. They've got several different weaknesses, but I imagine they'll be going with Sea Sting for the most part, and that looks to be the case. Well, looks like he's going to go Rolling Shield for the last one. And gets behind, so that damage boost strat, gets you just to the side, as quickly as possible, but that's where you do eat some damage before going into Octo, which is a difficult boss. Laseki's gonna be a little low. It might be a good thing that he's got that sub-tank.
Yeah. It's like like if he knows he's gonna have trouble with this stage, and you know, good to have that safeguard in place. So how nice is Octopus gonna be today?
Yeah, and he immediately just goes for the sub-tank. So yeah, Entu got the whirlpool there, instead of trying to jump up out of it, and like I said, there's that fire wave tech. Just stays away from it, but really good. I mean, that was right at 20 minutes for his X1 time, so that's a great time through X1.
Yeah, final hit was at 1957, so per the rules, they have to wait 30 seconds between games out of courtesy towards runners who are not necessarily using emulators.
There we go, and so Laseki getting through as well, so that was about 25 seconds, I guess, by the end.
2021 to 1957, so...
Okay. And Entu's getting going on the intro here. But yeah, so we'll see a little bit of a dance to get that 30-second time in. And this X2 intro, this is a really fun stage, just because it's really short and really fluid. You're just moving fast the whole time. We have the dash ability at the beginning here, so you can go through quickly. And then it finishes up with a really iconic fight against CF0, which is the name of the giant robot. And that's interesting because the strategy that was developed for fighting this guy as quickly as possible has been implemented in a ton of different fights since then. And so anytime you hear people talking about CFO or CF0 strats, that's where the name comes from. But it's this idea of doing a dash lemon followed by a charge shot and using the travel time of the lemon to help you charge the charge shot faster.
Oh,
and Entu did a great job. And then, so we'll see the same thing. Yep, there's that dash shot, the charge. Very nice kill as well.
Easy,
right, so,
easy peasy.
Yeah. X2, we got starting off with Wire Sponge. X2 is going to be a little different. We saw Entu didn't pick up anything aside from the dash boots in X1. In X2, I'll expect to see both of them getting the arm upgrade. Entu does elect to skip the heart tank right at the beginning there. That's a really quick one to get, so if he's not getting that, then he's probably not going to get any others, and he skips the sub-tank as well. But there's a lot of cool tech with both the strike chain that you get from Wire Sponge here, and having the charged version of the speed burner that you get from Flame Stag. And so having the arm upgrade is actually quite a bit faster, as well as having it for boss fights and things like that.
Yeah. A lot of the upgrades in X2 are pretty close, I think, to their original, to where the level starts, or they're in positions that really aren't like major time sinks. Mm-hmm. So it is advantageous, but in a Maverick only run, you don't really need the upgrades since you're not going for the big upgrades later in the game. So
yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about the Hadouken or the Shoryuken, so you don't need to get everything. It's just a matter of how much safety you think you need. And Wire Sponge is one of those bosses that a lot of people do not like, because there's a significant RNG component. If you have him below a certain level of health, I believe it's 9 health, he can do a rage attack where he just turns invincible for about 9 seconds and gets real angry, and that's what we're seeing on the second screen right now. Entu managed to avoid it. He got some lucky RNG, and so it didn't slow him down at all. Laseki loses that time, but still gets a quick kill.
So, and as the games progress, their death animations get slower.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, but they do.
That is a frustrating thing. Yeah, the explosions get a lot slower in X2, and the explosions are slower in X3, but the little cheer fanfare thing is a little bit quicker in X3, so it's not as bad. Yeah, going up for that arm capsule. Yeah, second try, not too bad. It's a pretty tight little jump. Since we've got the strike chain, that helps a lot, but... Mew Mew fan, my favorite Mega Man game is we just saw, but X2 is a very good one as well.
My favorite regular Mega Man is probably Mega Man 3, with 2 very close behind. For the X series, I'm going to kind of go the iconoclastic route. I think X3 is the best of the series. Oh, yeah. X and X2 are really good too, but X3 I like. It has a little more bite to it as far as difficulty. The weird boss behavior notwithstanding.
Yeah, that's something we'll see when we get into X3, but the enemies and the regular enemies in the stages do a ton of damage, so especially in a speedrun setting like this, it's not easy.
No.
Both making some good use of the strike chain already, though. Entu's a little low on health, but it probably won't matter much for Gator. And there's a health pickup if he wants it real close here.
Yeah, he's going to go for it, just safety. But his movement has been quite as sharp in Gator as Laseki's has overall. It's been a lot of little strips, like half second here, quarter second there. Nothing significant, but not quite as sharp as what we saw in X1.
And here comes, it's got potential to be a big-time equalizer, Gator. So getting those strike chain hits back-to-back is really difficult. It's about a 5-frame window that you have to hit him, and you also have some travel time on the strike chain itself, so if you're not in the right position, then it can feel even tighter than that. So Entu lost it, and so did Laseki, but Entu got some amazing RNG to not have him go back down again. Laseki was not so lucky. Alright, and then he finishes it off as soon as he comes back up, so... Yeah, Gator is a tough fight, but I don't think the gap was able to close by much, if at all, there.
No, yeah. After Entu getting that sort of rebound after Gator descended, it was quite beneficial for him. So yeah, probably about a 15-20 second gap.
Yeah. And so we got that cutscene that says we got these 3 guys coming after us, and so we might see some differences in routing, but one philosophy in routing through this for just the 8 Maverick part is trying to get those guys cleared off the screen as quickly as possible so you don't have to watch that teleport animation every time. So we see Entu is going Stag third and Laseki is going for the Ostrich third. So already some differences. Stag third is kind of the newer, more traditional any percent route, whereas Ostrich third is a little bit older one. Probably just depends on what they are used to.
Yeah, I saw on Thursday both of them went Stag third. The difference actually came towards the end. I think one did Crab 5th and another did Crab 8th. If I remember right.
Yeah, there's a few options for routing, so it'll be a little bit tougher to keep it all straight here. However, both of these are fairly quick stages. Ostrich is probably a little faster because you're going through the bike the whole time.
Yeah.
Flame stage is really pretty technical, but Entu did a good job navigating it. That anytime you're climbing in Mega Man games, it's going to be difficult. And then they're both going to have a little bit tough Buster Duel. Neither of these fights is so hard that I don't think we need to worry about them dying, but it's just a matter of getting those hits in as fast as possible. And yeah, Entu's doing good. So is Laseki. Laseki's been getting pretty good RNG, so he doesn't have shots dinging off him too much. There we go.
Good boss fights for both.
Despite the closeness in the animations, I think Entu's probably still hanging on to that same about 20-second lead or so, because that stage is just a little bit longer.
Right.
Alright, so, yep, Entu's going to go Moth 4th. So this is a little bit different than the Stag 3rd any percent route, and so he's doing this just to get the counter runners off the screen. It does mean Moth is a kind of scary fight when you got low health. It does a ton of contact damage, so you gotta be a little careful. And then Laseki's going to Crab.
And it's a fairly long stage on top of that. These two mini bosses.
Yeah, these guys can be annoying. They're pretty easy to take out right away, but if you miss the shot for whatever reason, they can take a long time. And then the little parasite guy that comes out of them. You see their Entu's using Speedburner to take them out, which is a really good way to do it. However, Speedburner is the weakness for Moth also, so you got to be careful about your usage between the charge burners to just get through the level quickly, and then also taking out the mini bosses. You've got to have enough left over for the actual fight at the end.
Right. Yeah, so Laseki on his way to Crab, another very short stage for X2. Might be the shortest, I think.
Yeah, especially when you're not getting any pickups, you just can fly right through it. It does have that little climbing section at the end, and we saw Laseki using some good movement to get through the whole thing quickly. And then Crab can be actually a bit of a pain of a boss, and he can do a good bit of damage if you're not lucky, but Laseki did a great job just baiting him into the corner, dropping the wheel on him, and letting it go to town. Entu's coming into the Moth fight. So like I said, this can be kind of a scary one, and he's already low on health. This first stage, you just got to get the damage in as quickly as possible, but then after the metamorphosis, it becomes a pretty scary fight.
Yeah. Again, he's got low ammunitions, so he's okay. Shoving up.
And yeah, he went top. Man, well done.
Woo.
Yeah, so he definitely routed that to have the exact amount left over, and yeah, going up top to get that first speed burner in right away is also a little bit scary. If you got your timing right, it's no problem. But so now Laseki's on Stag. The fun thing about doing this route is now you're going to have Stag's weakness, so that fight becomes completely trivial. But we'll get to that in a second. Looks like Entu should be going. Yep, going Centipede. There, Laseki picks up another safety. So, you know, Laseki has been picking up hearts both in X1 and X2, and yeah, he used the sub-tank in X1. Having some of those safeties is not bad, but also when you're just a little bit behind, you gotta wonder how much that'll matter when it comes down to it. The Centipede stage, yeah, this is a stage, let me tell you.
Yeah, lot of crucial, precise movement early on. You got to be really on point with this, otherwise you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, lots of ways to die in one hit if you're not careful. And then we see Laseki getting to wash the horse. Gotta love washing the horse. Those bubbles just go to town, and when you hit him with bubbles, that forces that fireball attack, which, if you're doing the Buster fight, you want to see that attack also, but it's just RNG if you get it. But with the bubbles, you can just go to town, no problems, gets through that quickly. And Entu getting through the second mini-boss there, so he's just got the fight left with Centipede. Centipede fight is also an interesting one because there's the tailspin glitch, a way that you can really speed it up, but it's also dependent on the boss RNG, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. So, Laseki is on his 6th Robot Master already. Entu is just on his 5th, but their routing has diverged a bit, so...
Oh, yeah, and there's the tailspin. So, didn't mean to switch to the wheel there. What we saw there is Centipede can do this tailspin attack where the pieces of his tail fly out, and then the idea is that they will circle X and then try and squish you. But if you can time your movement really well, you have to dash jump to the wall right as the last piece is coming off the screen, and then slide down it as they come back in. And we can see just at the edge of the screen, one of those pieces gets confused and gets stuck in the wall, and then the other piece is just trying to find its friend and just circles around the room while you can unload on Centipede. So that was really well executed, and also some good luck to get the pattern. So
Yeah.
Entu's kind of hitting on everything. He's playing really well. The game is helping him out a little bit. He's flying.
So even though Laseki's on his 6th Robot Master right currently, and Entu is just starting his 6th, wouldn't be a stretch to say that Entu is still in the lead, because after Crystal Snail, he still has to do...
yeah, he's going to have Ostrich and Crab, which are both pretty quick.
Yeah, 2 very short stages. So we'll know for sure probably by the time he starts. I assume Crab will be 8th. We'll have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, Entu just got the mini boss skip through Snail. That's a really easy and really cool trick. You can try that one at home right now and just charge up a speed burner and let it go as you're coming into the boss room, and the boss will just never spawn. It's a great trick. And looks like he's got the Moth fight. But yeah, Moth is a pretty long stage, so it'll be interesting.
So yeah, so now actually Entu just started his boss fight with Crystal Snail, and Laseki's just finishing up with Moth.
Oh, see, there's that body damage. It just does a ton, but no problem. Oh, Entu did get some bad luck there. You want to hit Snail with these mines to knock him out of his home, and then you can go ahead and bump the... Oh, very well done on the charge shot. Not going to be quite enough to kill him, but close. But yeah, you can dash into his shell and knock it around, and once he's out of it, he's just going to try and get back. So
yeah,
he's at your mercy.
Nice little game of keep away.
Okay, so Laseki going to Centipede now, and we know, as we mentioned before, how dangerous that can be.
Entu going to Ostrich 7, looks like. Yep.
So he'll do Ostrich and then Crab to finish it up, and Laseki's got Centipede and then Snail. So definitely not a huge difference still, but I gotta think with how short these levels are that Entu's got still a pretty good lead going.
Yeah, the 24-second lead through X1 just broke the 20-minute mark, but Entu really wants to hold on to that bike right to the end if he can.
Yeah, making that jump is kind of crazy. There's, you can do a lot of things right, but you still need the game to kind of help you out a little bit. And he did a great job. And Laseki tripped one of the alarms coming into that room where the blocks are falling down, but had no problem navigating through it. So he's still making great time through Centipede as well. One big thing to look out for is whether the Centipede gives him the friendly RNG and if he's able to capitalize on it like Entu was.
Alright, so Entu just entering.
Yeah, and we'll get to see the difference in how this fight goes now that we've got Ostrich's weakness compared to the Buster fight that Laseki did earlier. With the Crystal Hunter weapon, you can freeze him, and kind of like Spark Mandrill. Oh, there's the tailspin. No, doesn't even go for it. So I'm not sure. Laseki might not know exactly how to do the trick there. So Yeah, with some good luck here, he'll probably still have a good time through it, but not quite. Yeah, with any teleports, you're gonna be losing time to Entu's fight. Oh, but sorry, as I was saying, the Crystal Hunter, you can get those double hits, kind of like with Spark Mandrill in X1, and so that's why we saw Entu hit an Ostrich twice on the ground and then again in the air. And going into Crab, the final one. Knowing that Entu is kind of strongest at X3, this has been an amazing showing through X1 and X2. It's clear that he's really been working on it. Really wants that first place spot in the group.
Yeah, sure. He's been very on point with his movement and his execution, particularly with the boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
To the 15 he's fought right thus far, he really has not made any outright mistakes as far as those are concerned.
Yeah, and still deathless. And as I mentioned,
famous last words.
Yeah, let's hope that there's no commentator curse. Oh no, Laseki just used the speed burner a bit too fast, or too soon, and so he stopped right before the room there, and it gave time for the camera to scroll, which meant the boss spawned in. So that's really unfortunate.
So, last one up for Entu. We get a more accurate assessment of where they're at time-wise after this.
Just dropping those wheels on. Great job. So yeah, 41, 12, 13 or so.
I count 12, but still, that's very good.
Yeah, that's really fast. So, and we'll see how Laseki's fight goes for Snail here.
Alright.
Gets him out of the shell right away. Hits in.
A little trouble there, but
oh no.
Oh, that's not good.
I was able to get back, yeah, so, okay, there you go. So you really want to make sure that you get that hit in right away, especially when Snail is low on health. His Desperation attack will slow down time, and it's just awful. Everything moves slowly, and so. And Y2 had to wait a little bit there, so we mentioned it earlier for the tournament. We do have a mandatory 30-second wait time in between games, and that's just to make sure it's fair for everybody, whether you're playing on console or emulator, and if you need to change your controls, all of that. So we see Laseki doing the same. And now that we know, let me switch the audio over to Entu, because Entu is definitely in the lead.
Yeah. So, yeah. N2 has a 41-12 split after X2. Laseki at 42-05.
Sorry, looks like the audio's not coming through for Entu, so we'll just go back to Laseki's. But yeah, and so we get to see the only appearance from playable Zero that we'll see this run. Climb up a wall here and have a little showdown with Mac.
Excuse me for one moment, I'll be right back. Otter, you're in charge.
Sounds good. So yeah, Zero takes out Mac, no problem there. And we're back on X by Zero. The nice thing about this run is we don't get to watch Zero die at the end of every game, so that's good. You get to have nice optimistic thoughts. Alright, and so Entu's going into the boss from for the intro stage here. Another real simple one, just putting charge shots into him. There's a little bit of praying for some good RNG that these claws or mace ball things don't come down and take you out. Yeah, like we just saw there. Not a whole lot you can do about that, but finishes it off, no problem. Laseki also takes out Mac. And X is back. Let's watch the teleport here, and then we'll have a good idea of exactly what it is.
Looks like I got back just in time for the next giant robot fight.
Yep, giant robots. Yeah, so Laseki's going into it now also. And Entu's heading into Blizzard Buffalo. So, Blizzard Buffalo is going to be the first one we want to do for a couple reasons. One big one is the AI in X3 is a little strange, and so you'll immediately see what I'm talking about when we get to the fight. But Blizzard Buffalo is an extremely easy buster fight because his AI is completely manipulatable. So it makes it for an easy fight. You also get a really good weapon from Buffalo, and the dash boots, or I guess the air dash boots in this case, are in this stage as well. I'm not sure if either of them will be picking them up. You definitely don't need it, and you save a little bit of time if you have excellent execution by not getting them. But for most players, it's going to be faster to get boots.
Yeah.
And yeah, Entu goes for him.
Yeah, I know the race I saw, Darrenville was one of the competitors. He actually skipped them.
Yeah, some of the players that are really confident in their X3 low percent strategies will skip it, but there's a handful of places where the boots are going to help. If you don't have them, you're not going to lose a whole lot of time, but in order to do those tricks and not lose a lot of time, you need some really good execution. So the main ones being the elevators and Beetle and Hornet. Both of those are really difficult to do without the boots. And so your options are either sit on the elevator, in which case you lose a lot of time, or do some really difficult jumps.
Right.
And it looks like he also gets the boots.
So Entu, rinse and repeat. Basically, that's all this boss fight is.
Yeah, so when he looks at you, you jump in the air and look scary, and Buffalo will get scared and run away. That's how I like to think of it. But yeah, a completely trivial boss fight, as long as you just pay attention and jump at the right times. Daggered, this is the very last game in the group stages. So both of these players have had a really good group stage, and they will be advancing to the knockouts. However, this match is going to decide who is the 1 seed and who is the 2 seed. And yeah, Laseki doing the same thing. Put your hands above your head, look scary. Buffalo will run away.
So
yeah, and if you don't do the manipulation, that could be a really tough fight. So and also a really slow one. So it's important to do that.
Entu starting Toxic Seahorse. My favorite soundtrack for this game, I think.
Yeah, this is a good one. I gotta agree with that. I think Beetle might be my favorite in this game, though.
Beetle's really good too, but
yeah, and Toxic Seahorse, that little vertical climbing section Entu just did is pretty tough to do real fast. He did a great job navigating it. But we'll see the first usage of the Frost Shield that we just picked up from Buffalo, because that's going to be the weakness for this mini-boss coming up, and also for the final boss. So you do have to be a little bit careful with your ammo conservation, because both of these will kind of require some mashing. Man, Entu got through that real fast. Laseki's flying up the climb as well. Both of these guys are really putting on a show. They're playing amazingly well.
Yeah. X3, I think, more than the others, really breaks these levels out into like distinct chunks. There's usually 2 or 3 chunks to every single level.
Yeah,
with multiple mini bosses, etc.
Mm-hmm. And with having the bit and bite rooms in every stage, it especially kind of gives that feeling. And like you said, a lot of mini bosses as well. Okay, so Entu's going into the Toxic Seahorse fight. again, the X3 coding or AI, whatever you want to think of it, has some quirks. So he's going to hit him with a frost shield first, and then you see him mashing some shots in. For whatever reason, the standard iframes will expire on Seahorse, but he still won't move for a little bit there. And at that point, you can just keep mashing in shots, and it won't cause iframes. And so Entu did a great job. The higher in the air that you hit him, the longer time you'll have to mash. And so you probably could have hit him a little bit higher and then tried to get some more mashing in, but he had a really consistent, looked like a 3-cycle there. See how Laseki does.
Entu's got to go through a mandatory cutscene, so I'll wait.
Yeah, Laseki doing the same thing. I'm trying to get that frost shield high up. Almost got it in 2-cycle. So yeah, pretty even there. And this mysterious figure appears. I don't know who that could be. Definitely not seen it before.
Entu finished left at 49.53. Laseki is getting the screen fade at 50.36, so 43 seconds between them. 2 down, 6 to go. Man,
so yeah, this far into the run, that's pretty crazy they're that tight. And remember, like you said earlier, Laseki does have the faster PB by, it was about 1:45, right? So,
right.
Yeah, so this would be an upset, though we knew it was going to be a pretty tight race.
Yeah, and looks like he has made up some ground early on in X3. This was a 53-second gap going in, so it's been a little cleaner. He's been a little cleaner overall, but it's really.
Oh man! So, I'll talk real quick about Bit and Bite. We saw that cutscene, kind of like the cutscene in X2, introduces you to these characters. But the way they handle it in X3 is Bit and Bite both will appear randomly. So Bit will appear first, and it's somewhere between the 3rd, 4th, or 5th stage. And then Bite will do the same thing sometime in the 6th, 7th, or 8th stage.
Right.
You really don't want to see Bits during Tunnel Rhino stage, just because this stage can do a lot of damage to you. But Entu had a great fight. He even did some damage boosting on purpose to make it through there. But then you see just a couple hits from those guys, and now he's going to elect to go get some extra health. Oh, and Laseki gets bit also. So
Entu almost hit the spikes there. Just barely avoids that. So
yeah, Tunnel Rhino's stage is a pretty scary one. I certainly was not a fan of it in my runs. A lot of things that could possibly go wrong. Like I said, spikes, you got stuff falling down from the sky, the enemies do a ton of damage to you. You've got this mini boss that you just need to damage boost and mash through to do it as quickly as possible. So it's a tough stage, and on top of that, if you die, Tunnel Rhino himself gets harder. So yeah, it's a pretty high stakes level. Entu makes it through everything so far really quickly, but now he's low on health. He's doing a good turn through these things though. And Laseki going into the mini boss again, just stand inside him and mash.
Entu's got 4 health, it looks like that. He should be okay, provided he handles Rhino's pattern effectively. It shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Yeah, Rhino, as long as you haven't died, is pretty easy. Again, the AI is not the smartest, but he can try and kind of fake you out and stop midway, kind of like that. And so if you're not careful, that can be problemsome.
Yeah, body damage is severe in this game.
Yeah, I saw both Entu and Laseki doing a really good job in the stage. On some of the enemies, they elected to get hit by the projectile on purpose, so then they could just dash through it or not take a direct body damage. That's really good. The projectiles in this game typically only do a little bit of damage, but running face first into enemies will do a lot. So sometimes it's about making sure you take the right kind of damage. Oh, thank you, Commander in chat pointing out something that I should have mentioned regarding Bit and Bite. if you hit them with their weakness for their last shot, they will explode. And as we're watching on the Laseki screen, the explosions are really long. So you want to make sure that you finish them off with a buster. And if we were playing the full game, that would have implications there too, because it means they would survive, and that changes the bosses that you fight in the later stages. But for our instances, you just want to make sure they're not exploding, so you're not losing all that time.
Right. So we got a route divergence here. Laseki's doing Neon Tiger 4th.
Yeah, so I think Laseki's probably a little more. I think this is the 100% route, if I'm not mistaken, that Laseki's kind of following, whereas Entu's doing kind of the more traditional low percent route. And since we already had Bit, we're not going to see Bite until either the 6th, 7th, or 8th level, so we don't need to worry about it here. Laseki doing a really good job to get the one cycle on that worm, I don't know his exact name, but the worm mini boss there. You got to get 5 shots of the frost shield into him to kill him, and so doing that before he makes it off screen the first time is pretty tough. Alright, so going into the boss fight. With Catfish, we do have Catfish's weakness. That's the drills that we just got from Tunnel Rhino. But you want to use Buster as much as possible at the beginning of the fight because it's going to be faster. Once Catfish gets to his desperation attacks, then we'll see the drills come out. There we go. And actually, the drills coming. Same kind of thing on Laseki's side. He does not have Tiger's weakness, but that's fine because the Buster is actually quicker for most of the fight. Let's see, yep, Laseki. Now, with Neon Tiger, you gotta be careful about when you shoot uncharged shots and when you're shooting charged shots. Tiger will block charged shots normally, so you gotta make sure that you hit him with those either when he's in the middle of an attack, like we see with his Ray Splasher off his tail, or when he's up in the air like that.
Yeah.
Looks like he's doing a really good job doing this the right way.
And he's getting really good RNG from Neon Tiger. And
yeah, just the one Berserker attack there, doing the Wolverine impression.
So Entu on his way to Crawfish. I think this is if you're gonna get bit in any of the 3rd, 4th, or 5th levels, this is the one that's preferred.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true.
Largely because the weakness doesn't really bode or have any impact on what happens next.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I guess I should also mention another kind of interesting thing about X3 that's different than the others. One of the reasons the Frost Shield is so great to get first is Frost Shield can guarantee that you get a health drop from any enemies that are on the ground or the ceiling. So we might see if either of these guys get in trouble on their health, they might switch to Frost Shield and elect to take some things out that way. That's a really nice little... I know it's an intended thing, but kind of a nice little Easter egg that the developers put in there to make life easier for you.
Man, this is definitely the toughest of the SNES X game, and by quite a bit. So it's nice to see them have a little back door just to keep the players screaming in frustration. So Entu already had Crawfish's arena. But this Crawfish might be the shortest stage in X3.
Yeah. And we see Entu doing, again, there's some sort of kind of weirdness going on with the iframes. But when you hit him with the Triad Thunder, you get 1 second where Crawfish has iframes, and then another full second where you can hit him with no iframes. So you see Entu hits him with the Triad Thunder and then just mashes away on Lemons. And he had some really good mashing too. He got through that really, really fast.
So this should be, this is Neon Tiger, so Beetle will be 7th and Hornet will be 8th.
Yeah.
In all likelihood.
Yeah, so Laseki had a pretty similar fight to Entu. Got a bunch of buster shots in, but gonna have a little while of just sitting here, Catfish going up and down. If you don't have Catfish's weakness, this is a really scary part of it. He does this desperation attack that can just, fill up the whole room, basically. But since we got the drills, that's when we start using them. Oh, and Entu gets the 1 cycle on the worm mini-boss also. So, wow.
So, Entu, just based on what we're seeing, is about half a stage ahead, give or take. But we're really not going to have a full picture probably until Hornet.
Yeah, it might come down to the very end between the different routes, and then we'll also see what happens with when Bite shows up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so Laseki could encounter Bite here. Entu is now entering Bite arena and got him, so...
Yeah. This probably isn't the best place, but Bite isn't nearly as likely to do a lot of damage to you as Bit is. He's pretty easy as long as, you just kind of be careful. Same thing though, Entu's going to have to make sure that he doesn't finish him off with a drill. Oh, and Laseki gets Bite, so not going to have that to worry about either. They're going to be pretty even. There we go. So Entu using the pause to get to Buster. If you time it just right with your drills, you can have them expire in time, but if you're off by just a little bit, then you'll cause that explosion. And yeah, we see Laseki doing the same thing, pausing, getting to Buster, mashing him down.
So in terms of the timing, it's kind of fortuitous to see both of them get Bit and Bite at the same stage, actually, even though in this case they actually went to different levels and still got him.
Yeah, it's great for us as commentators. Makes it a lot easier to know how close it is.
So, Neon Tiger underway for Entu. Laseki had a great Tiger fight. Entu not quite getting as good a fight. Ooh, missed a charge shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you really want to see there it is, that Ray Splasher tail attack as much as possible. Now, Entu does have... Yeah, here's Tiger's weakness, so he can avoid any more of those Berserker attacks. The reason we don't use this the whole time is it just does 2 damage, and as you can see, you just kind of got to go back and forth. It's actually a little bit slower than doing the Buster fight, but it was nice that he had it to finish that off, so he didn't have to worry about any more unlucky RNG. And Laseki now coming in Crawfish, also getting that Triad Thunder to Buster. Uh-oh, gets grabbed. Now, for anybody that's played... Oh, man! Wow. Yeah, I was just about to say, for anybody that's played this casually, Crawfish has this back dash attack that does just an ungodly amount of damage. And Laseki just survived that by the skin of his teeth. That was close.
So now they're synced up. So Entu arrives at Beetle at 102.51. Laseki should be... He's getting closer.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. Just a small mismenu there. And Entu is definitely on PB pace. I can't see the splits, but you gotta think he's having a really good run.
Laseki lands at 103.13, 22 seconds between the two runners. So Laseki has really done a great job tightening this race up. Entu had a 53-second lead going into X3, and Laseki has been slowly whittling away at it.
And to kind of go back to what we've said in every game here, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Laseki did grab the sub-tank in Tunnel Rhino, which is a really quick one, just a few seconds outside your route. Entu did not. So again, Laseki has the safety items, Entu doesn't. We'll see if it matters though. And so this elevator is the one that I mentioned previously. If you don't have those boots, those are some really tough jumps. You can do it without the boots, but man, is it difficult.
So Entu has arrived at Beetle's Arena. This is a pretty straightforward boss fight. This shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah. Laseki getting trolled just a little bit by that guy. But yeah, Beetle is another one of those completely trivial ones when you have his weakness. You just make sure he doesn't jump straight into you is about the only thing you gotta worry about.
And to playing it a little safe, not dashing under him or anything, just, point and shoot.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, so there we see Laseki trying to go for the dash under him. I don't think Entu's playing around at all. He's, like I said, he's got to be on PB pace. He's just going to make sure he does everything by the book.
Yeah, he's at his PB, as we said, going in 108.35. He should have it he should have that much in the bag. As far as Laseki, his PB is 106.51, but like you look at his run and you wonder, where did he really lose time?
Yeah, both of them have obviously been having a really solid run. Just kind of goes to show, for the folks that haven't been following this tournament, the world record for this category is by Luis Miguel, and it's a 102 something. I'll tell you the exact number here, 102.56. So, these guys are way up there, and it's really hard to imagine how you could do it much faster.
Laseki is going. It's like he's on a mission here. He is going for broke.
Yeah, destroying things just because they're there. So this wireframe boss, this is another one of the reasons why you gotta have a special chip, CX4 chip on these cards to do these kind of bosses. But it can actually be kind of a pain if you're not careful. But both these guys clearly know this game really well, take care of it with ease.
Yeah. Laseki, I think did that a little faster than Entu, but Entu's almost to the end. A few more corridors.
Yeah. And we know they both had bite, so we don't have to worry about anything happening there. Entu's just got kind of this final little stretch, and then Hornet is not a trivial fight. So some of these boss fights have been pretty laughably easy, like Beetle. This one is not. So Hornet's true weakness is the gravity well. However, that's kind of slow. So what we'll probably see Entu using is the spinning blades that we get from Crawfish. Those only do 2 damage, but you can shoot them a lot faster, and you don't have to spend all the time sitting there. And so it's going to come down to this fight.
Oh boy. Entu missing a couple of shots there.
Those baby Hornets can really get in the way.
He missed another shot.
And he gets the field goal. Yeah. He's definitely in good shape.
Should have enough. Okay, he's got it.
There it is. Wow. Man, what a run from Entu.
Oof.
Laseki is not going to be far behind. Man, this is a great race.
Entu wins the race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, 46 seconds. Laseki, a very close second at 1 hour, 7 minutes, 59 seconds. Almost completed the comeback.
Wow. That is wild. So yeah, we can look at the group standings now. So as the group stage is now finished, these guys here, let me get some stuff out of the way. These guys coming out of Group F, both had already won 2 games. So now Entu is going to be the #1 seed coming out of Group F with a 3-0 record. That's really impressive. Laseki is going to be the #2, also making it to the knockouts. So for everybody that enjoyed that, don't worry, both of these guys are going to make it through, and they're going to be giving us some more great races. That was really fantastic.
Yeah, if you wanted to end group play on a high, that's how you do it.
Man, yeah, it gets us ready for the knockout. There's there's going to be a lot of matches like this coming up. That was wild. Alright, let's see. And so, yeah, and we should, of course, point out that was right around a PB for Entu, right? Let me get the actual numbers. Let's see. So yeah, Entu's previous PB was a 108.35, now a 107.45. Also, for reference, Entu's best race that we had seen from him yet was a 111. So really just blew that out of the water. That was amazing. Let's see. We'll see if either of these guys are available to jump in and talk for a second.
Laseki has politely declined. We'll see if Entu's up for it.
Man, I can't get over how tight that was.
I know. It's like, as somebody in chat said, another boss, and Laseki might have caught Entu.
Yeah.
He might have had some like little movement hiccups in X2, but he was pretty much unconscious through X3, and he played spectacularly, and he had really good boss fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have to expect a 107 to win almost every day of the week, but man. And yeah, with the little bit of difference in philosophy, like I mentioned, Entu was going all out. He didn't grab any safeties. He was doing everything he could to just go as fast as possible, and then to have it be a 13-second difference. It paid off, man. Yeah, we'll see if Entu's able to join us. Oh, I should.
Mew actually makes a good point. The boss skip in Crystal Snail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. That was
that's
yeah,
15 that's 15-20 seconds right there, and as you were saying, Laseki did take a few safeties here and there, and while the one for Octopus was not superfluous, you could argue, well, did he really need those health upgrades in X2 and 3? Maybe not.
Yeah, and of course with the getting the sub-tank in Eagle in the first place, I know a lot of folks that play 100% more are just a lot more comfortable with the platforms, and so it's really, for them it's faster to still get the sub-tank.
Right.
So yeah, it's hard to really question any of the decisions made when you put up that good of a time, but man.
And now, to give us some insight on his fine performance, we welcome Entu to the chat. GG.
Yo, thank you.
Congratulations.
That was pretty crazy.
Man, like you had a 1 minute lead practically going into X3, and it just kept getting tighter and tighter as it went on.
Yeah, I was kind of checking on the restream there, but I didn't think he'd catch up that much. I knew he was better than me in X3, but I play X3 too, so I didn't think I'd lose that much.
Yeah, I think he had better luck. I would say with some of the bosses in X3, that helped him, I think, narrow the gap a little bit. His bosses were a little nicer to him.
His movement's really good though in X3. It's really good.
Especially like in the second half of X3, especially like Gravity Beetle and Blast Hornet, he was just flying through it. But your movement in X1 and X2 was really precise, really crisp. And that, I think, and skipping that mini boss in Snail, he was unable to do it.
He got stuck at I saw him actually get stuck on that. I swear in another race too. I think his last race, he got stuck on that one too. I can't believe he got it again. That's probably what won it then, honestly.
There was that. He took a couple of safeties as well, a couple of second tier in there. The E-Tank in X actually paid off. He had really low health at Octopus, but Yeah, there were a couple of safeties and a couple other little things. Some of the bosses weren't very nice to him. I think especially in X2. But you know, there it is.
Yeah,
X2 is tough with RNG. That game is crazy with RNG. You can reset in a regular run, but in a race, it's tough.
I was gonna ask you about your lack of safeties. Was that the plan going in? You just wanted to go all out, or do you usually skip all of them?
I usually don't skip them. I just decided that I was not going to go for anything this time. I've been practice. That's the way I practice it. I don't ever go for the safeties in practice, but I just said if I had any chance of beating him, I basically had to skip everything.
Yeah, and I think that ended up being what did it. I was really worried the whole time. Every time you skipped one, I was hoping it wouldn't come back to you. And yeah, you clutched it out. That was huge.
No, thanks. I went for safeties for sure in my other runs, and like I said, I didn't think I had any choice in this one.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, have you gotten any PBs, offline or anything that you haven't submitted, or because according to the leaderboards, this was almost a minute PB.
Yeah, I play offline a lot, mostly.
So was this a true PB, or have you had a better time?
No, this one was a PB, but only by like I think it was 7 seconds.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, that's still huge. That's really big.
Yeah, usually I mess up somewhere, of course, and die, and that's usually what keeps me from getting anything better. But I got lucky this time. No deaths, and that's all I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was luck. I think it was skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luck had something to do with it too, because I mean, I go through them all the time, and I seem to always do at least just one death, somewhere that ruins the run. All it would take is one death. That's it, and then it would be over.
So you get to move on into the knockout round with a 3-0 record. So was that when you went into this? Was that on your mind that you might get out of group play undefeated?
No way. It was random. I didn't even get a chance to submit a PB when we first did the seeding because I found out about it a week before the tournament, and I didn't play X2 until the tournament started. I hadn't played it since a kid.
Yeah.
So it looks like our favorite admin Mannix has already updated the seeding, so I was going to let you know. Looks like you're going to fall as the number 7 1 seed based on overall time. So congrats on that.
Cool, thanks.
And then Laseki is going to be the second ranked 2 seed, just behind Madu. So he'll be number 11 overall going into the knockout. So we're gonna have a lot of really exciting matchups, and actually 7 and 11, you guys might end up seeing each other again real soon.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. That might have been my last one. We'll find out.
But that would be really exciting to get to see that again. You guys both raced so well.
Yeah, that was a great way to close out the group stages for sure.
Let me throw more information in the chat here. Everybody who's watching, please, I don't know if it's coming up or not, but give these runners some love. Both of them just did an amazing job, and they will be going through. I don't know if the commands are working.
Yeah.
But be on the lookout. The schedule is available. I think it's on the Speed Gaming website or on the Twitch profile there. You can get access to the schedules. As soon as we've got the knockout scheduled, take a look. There's going to be a lot of really good matches going on. Get to see these guys do some more running.
Yeah. From this point on, yeah, it's going to be a lot of epic runs right down to the finish.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Luis versus Nero run for sure.
Yeah, that we can get that one. I'm going to be pretty excited. Well, anything else you guys want to add?
Good for me.
Yeah, good for me.
All
Thanks
right.
for commenting, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Good game again. Congratulations. That was just incredibly hype. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I have to expect you had a wonderful time because that was too much fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, keep an eye on the schedule. Be looking out. Next few weeks we'll have more. And thanks, everybody. That's all I got.
And for those of you looking to stick around, in less than half an hour, more Mega Man for you on the docket. The Mega Man 2 Randomizer Showcase Race. Wanted to see Mega Man 2 played as a randomizer? Well, this is your chance. It's a lot of fun. They really do some really twisted and crazy things with this game.
Yeah, those are always awesome. Really good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll sign out then.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.